Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for September 22nd through 28th. This week I read one book, I watched 2 shows, and I listened to 1 audiobook. I'm gonna pop in right here and say there's a 404 error. The sun cannot be found because it hasn't come up yet, and it's just starting to come up outside, and there's no other lights in the interior of this tiny pub besides this one that's right above my head and my own phone's flashlight right there. As I've mentioned before, I film these incredibly early so I don't wake other people up, and I'm in the Frogmore pub, which is a tiny backyard pub owned by family, and I like to film in here, and that's what's happening. Also because it feels marginally less cold in here because it's like 3 degrees outside. It's not actually less cold in here, it's just less sound from the highway. What did I read this week? It's on my phone, but I can't open my phone. Oh yeah. The one book I read this week was Mean Little Deaf Queer. This is a memoir about this person growing up deaf and queer, as you might have been able to ascertain, also a little bit mean. This kid did some mean stuff. This one was published about 10 or 15 years ago, which means that the person that was writing this memoir actually grew up in the 40s, I think was born in the 40s or 50s. So obviously had a different experience of being queer and deaf than people who are just growing up now. An unexpected thing to me in this book also was that this person was heavily into theater, which is something I love, so I love reading books about or around theater. So this really ticked a lot of boxes for me. I thought the writing in this was really forthright. There was a lot in this that was very messy, and the fact that somebody can put that into a memoir and just put it out for whoever in the world wants to read it, I commend. If you're into memoirs from people you may have never heard of before, I would definitely consider picking this one up. As for the shows I watched this week, if you've been here for a while, you know I've been going down quite the Criminal Minds rabbit hole, and this week I started in the 14th season. However, unbeknownst to me, the 14th season was really short. It only had 15 episodes, so I was quickly into the 15th season, which only had 10 episodes, and was kind of an end of the show because a certain global thing happened around that time. And then when you get into the 16th season, which I did, it's a 3-year time jump and things are obviously very different. We are down to 2 of original 7 cast members. And to top that off, I'm actually in the 17th season. I finished watching the 3rd episode of the 17th season, and I assume this season also has 10 episodes, but I didn't look it up ahead of time. I don't even know if this season is complete. I'm just going to keep watching it until my streaming service is like, no, sorry, there's no more, and then I have to go watch the spin-offs. Obviously, considering I started in the 14th season, I'm now in the 17th season, a lot has happened. We have certain cast members that still exist but are not there anymore because they are doing other things right now. And by they, I mean the characters who are on assignment, but also the actors who are off doing literal other projects. The most jarring thing going into the 16th season, which was on a different network, is they're allowed to swear now. So the first time that Rossi called an unsub a fuckhead, I was like, whoa. And a lot of people have gotten their chance to swear on the show. One of my favorite things was that Penelope really wanted to say the word that Rossi used, but also really didn't want to. She just wanted to say it as like a camaraderie thing, and she couldn't bring herself to do it, so she called somebody a wank weasel instead, and I laughed so hard. I love her so much. At this point, like I mentioned, we're down to 2 of the original 7 cast members, and we're down to 1 of 2 of my favorite cast members. And she's really proving why she's one of my favorites. She's a fantastic character. I love her so much. We also watched episodes 3 through 5 of the 2nd season of The Handmaid's Tale. Like I said before, we're kind of in uncharted territory for me because if this stuff happened in the book, I don't remember it. I have a feeling that it didn't, or if it did, it was like really glossed over and now we're really dragging it out. And my goodness, this show makes you feel for people because you're like, oh, you're so close, oh no, oh, so much doom, so much gloom, and you spend a lot of time just wanting to yell at characters for being the absolute worst, honestly. When this show first came out and people remembered that, you know, this story existed, people were talking about how, like, Atwood's and Nostradamus, considering what's happening in America, which is pretty much what Gilead is, or was, I guess, and with the fact that they overturned a 50-year-old law pretty recently, and things are going in a certain direction down in the States, and I'm really hoping that doesn't creep up into Canada, and I really hope it calms down in the States. That would be nice. It's like, Atwood, if you could just rewrite this so that people stop trying to use The Handmaid's Tale as like a good idea, that'd be great. The sun is starting to come up, but by the time I finished filming this, I think it will just be technical sunrise. The audiobook I listened to this week is Forever Strong. This is something I randomly put on hold because I was like, I am aging. I would like to do that as gracefully as I can. So I didn't really know what I was getting myself into with this audiobook. Firstly, this one is read by the author, and usually I'm really excited about that. However, this is not an audiobook that I actually recommend consuming as an audiobook, simply because there are a lot of equations and numbers and things that if you're anything like me, you're not actually going to absorb listening to it as an audiobook if you have the means and ability to read it physically or in a digital copy. Secondly, this book spends a lot of time dunking on people who get their protein from plant sources, and hi, that's me. Didn't appreciate that. Especially because this is a doctor being like, you're gonna get so many more complete proteins, etc, 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 from like a really nice cut of beef than you're going to get from an Impossible Burger. And I'm just like, if you're going to make comparisons like that, why are you comparing a really, really expensive high cut of beef to crappy fast food burger? If you're gonna do that, it should have been like crappy McDonald's burger to crappy Impossible Burger. We know when we're eating that, it's the fast food option. And newsflash, that's not what a lot of vegans eat all of the time. We're using, you know, plant-based sources, not necessarily convenience foods. Don't get me wrong, there are some plant-based people that will eat that all the time, sure, whatever. Processed food in general is a problem. But saying that meat eaters eat less processed food is just like, excuse me, what? Additionally, instead of this book fulfilling its subtitle, which is something about how to age well, the science behind aging well, this was mostly about, this is how you lose weight, and that's not what I signed up for when I was going into this book. So like, the marketing and the title in particular, not great for me. The fact that I had to listen to this doctor dunking on plant-based people, not great for me. And like, the biggest thing I got out of this is, yes, everybody should be eating more protein, but like, I already knew that. As much as it's like a stereotype of asking vegans, like, where do you get your protein? I've always found it weird because it's not like everybody who's a meat eater tracks their protein, and most people are not getting enough. Also, they spent a lot of time being like, you should calculate how much protein you need based on your ideal body weight. And I'm just like, excuse me, would you like to tell me exactly what my ideal body weight should be? Because you've given me no way to calculate that. And also a lot of the descriptions of people who are just trying to lose like their last 15 pounds, it's like, oh, she's 145 pounds, but like she wants to get down to 125 pounds. So here's this math. And I'm just like, but is that the ideal body weight for however tall this person is? It's also talked very rarely about things like genetics, and yeah, I cannot actually recommend this book. I'm sure there is some very valid science in here, but the way it went about portraying it and the fact that it was just actually turned out to be like, this is how you lose weight, when that's not what I was looking for, based on the title of the book, blah, didn't like it. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know all about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as always, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye. I really hope this flashlight situation worked out, because I'm not refilming this. 404, error, who cares? Thank you to the 50 people that actually watched this video and care.